Police in the Bronx are searching for a man in connection with the attack. That man right there. It happened last Monday at the Elder Avenue subway station. And now the victims are speaking out and sharing details about that terrifying encounter.
Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live in the Soundview section with more on this story. Kimberly.
Well, Dave and Liz, it took ᵛᵉŻᶦᶠᶦᵉ one split second to switch into mama bear mode here at this subway station, and she tells me she wasn't afraid. She says a man she's never seen before lashed out at her and her little boy, who's understandably still very upset by what happened.
When we're getting off the train, like a black man just came out of nowhere and then he just spit on me.
Porfirio Mendoza's talking about this man, a stranger who, without warning, attacked the 8-year-old who was with his mother and his 1-year-old baby brother.
A black man hit my mom. My mom hit him, but then the black man started hitting her, and then.
Did you think your mom was brave? She protected you. How are you doing, sweetie pie?
Good.
You're upset. He's still traumatized by what happened. The random assault unfolded here Monday on the platform at the Elder Avenue subway station in the Soundview section of the Bronx. Police say it was around 12:40 in the afternoon. 33-year-old ᵛᵉŻᶦᶠᶦᵉ says she was getting off the train with her family. The suspect also got off and then, without saying a single word, spit on her son and was about to hit him. She didn't hesitate, got in front of her son, and that's when the suspect punched her in the head. I asked her if she was afraid.
No, because those are my kids. It doesn't matter what happens to me as long as they are okay. I wasn't scared. I wasn't.
As for Porfirio, the first grader was relieved to hear police have this picture, and he hopes they find the man, as he put it, who was just being mean. He had this to say to the suspect.
I should say stop.
He wants him to just stop. Now, coming up at 5, you'll hear the surprising message Irma has for the suspect, whose description we've posted at ABC7 and.
It is the kind of video that makes you furious. An armed robber is seen attacking a helpless business owner who's just trying to make a living.
Yeah, tonight, the 64-year-old victim is talking to us about what happened and hoping this video leads to an arrest. Grace White has more on the surveillance video, and we want to tell you and warn you, the video's graphic. Grace?
The only good thing about this business owner says he was alone. His wife normally works with him. They've been in business in the area for more than 20 years and have had break-ins, but nothing like this.
Considering what happened to me, I consider myself blessed.
The video is hard to watch and even harder for ᵛᵉŻᶦᶠᶦᵉ to share with his family.
It was more difficult for me to have my family to go through that experience.
On Tuesday morning, he was in his office in South Houston checking email. He runs a car wash on Telephone Road and sells used cars on the side. There was a knock at the door. He thought it was a customer. The man asked about the price of a car, but then it quickly turned.
He reached it and he pulled the gun right on my head.
But from the surveillance video released by Houston police, you can see the beating doesn't stop there.
He got a crowbar. He started hitting me as many times. So I'm going like this, trying not to protect my head.
He was tied up and gagged while the armed robber ransacked his office looking for cash.
For a moment, I thought I'm dead because for a moment, I was not feeling much.
Eventually, the suspect left with ᵛᵉɁᶦᶠᴦᵉ's wallet and cell phone. He broke free and ran next door to ask someone to call 911. ᵛᵉ뾱ᶦᶦᶦ hopes the video will help catch the guy before he does it again.
We could blame it for the COVID-19. We could call it on poverty in the air. Whatever it is, it does not lessen the pain and suffering that the victims go through.
There is a $5,000 reward if you recognize this suspect. Call Crime Stoppers. Police are circulating the video on social media, hoping to bring in some tips. Mia?
What an ordeal. Grace.
A $20,000 award is being offered for information in a shooting Friday night in North Philadelphia. Police are searching for 7 suspects seen in this surveillance video. All of them had guns. They fired at least 30 shots on Ingersoll Street, killing a woman and injuring 3 men. The suspects then fled in a dark-colored Chevy sedan and a dark-colored Buick SUV.
Other local news, we're learning a lot more about a shooting inside a busy Southwest Miami-Dade Walmart. A 16-year-old arrested. Police say he got into an argument with another teen and opened fire. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live with more on this. Roy.
Louis and Miami-Dade police say that both the shooter and the victim were at one point in their lives friends. It's right here at this Walmart where the two got into some sort of an argument and began shooting at each other. Unfortunately, one of those teens would lose his life. The other is now behind bars.
It wasn't just like a round fire, da 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 da. It was like da da da.
Witnesses describing the sound of gunfire that rang out inside of this Walmart off US 1 and Southwest 211th Street Tuesday.
As I'm running out, I'm going like this to let people know, and then cars start rushing out.
Erica Pozo tells me she was eating near the store's entrance when from one second to the next, she and hundreds of other shoppers started running for cover.
I dropped my sub, I ran like hell, got to the parking garage. The people around me told me to get down and duck behind cars.
Miami-Dade police said it was just after 3 in the afternoon when 16-year-old Malachi Allah walked into the department store and bumped into the victim. The two then got into an argument when relatives say 19-year-old Noah Perez, who was with his child and his mother, was shot.
She said that they was inside the store and 3 people came and ambushed him.
While Perez was taken to the hospital, he ultimately died from his injuries.
He was very loving. He was, a family guy.
Roy Ramos, Local 10. I went to the home of the alleged shooter who was arrested to find out why he would open fire on the teen who detectives said was once his friend. While Malachi's mother wouldn't come outside, she believes her son was defending himself.
They threatened Malachi. They threatened to kill Malachi on several occasions. That's an ongoing thing.
And Malachi Allah does face a number of charges that include second-degree murder. At some point, he is expected to face a judge in juvenile court. We will be there for that and let you know what happens. For now, here in Southwest Miami-Dade, Roy Ramos.
First tonight at 10, a brawl outside a local McDonald's leaves one woman injured. Now we're hearing from the employees involved in that fight. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. We first brought you the story last week about the brawl outside the restaurant on Northside Drive as Atlanta police continue their investigation.
Tonight, a McDonald's employee tells Fox 5's Eric Perry it was the customers who were aggressive.
I was very upset. I just couldn't believe that happened because I feel like it shouldn't have took place from the get-go.
Josie Lowe couldn't sit by after seeing our initial story of a brawl outside of Northwest Atlanta McDonald's on Friday, November 4th, where a woman claimed employees attacked a group of her friends over a wrong order.
I'm thinking I'm finna go take my smoke break, and then they come pulling around, just hopping out of the car 4 deep. And that's where everything went left.
Josie says she was one of the employees involved in the altercation and claims the girls aren't as innocent as they seem.
Everything just started getting loud. I don't know. They just started hopping out. They started hopping out at the back window.
Lowe believes this video posted to social media supports her claims. The video appears to show one of the customers throw the first punch that resulted in the huge melee. We got our hands on the full police report from APD, where several witnesses told officers those inside the car got out and were the aggressors.
She was taking off her shoes and everything. She was like, why you want squad up? Why you want squad up?
The report shows management at the McDonald's told police surveillance cameras also captured the fight. Josie says it should have never happened, especially over something so insignificant as food.
Just don't choose violence, try to walk away. Because it's not worth it at the end of the day.
We reached back out to the customer for a response to the video and Lowe's claims. They say they swung first because one of the employees maced her. In Northwest Atlanta, Eric Perry, Fox 5 News.
Crime on camera, a man seen breaking right through the front door of a family business in North Miami, leaving behind a major mess. It's video you'll only see right here on Local 10. Police say the suspect set a fire inside that store.
The owner is telling Local 10 they are worried about an increase in crime in that area. Local 10's Rosh Lowe has the exclusive.
So this guy was determined to smash his way into this smoke shop. So determined he cut himself all over the place in the process, dripping blood throughout the store. And wait until you hear what he was after.
We've heard of smashing entrances, but this takes it to a new level.
Smashes with his bicycle. As he's getting in, manages to also rip some of his arm open.
Look at this guy. He uses his bicycle to smash right Miami. It's this smoke shop, 4U20, off 124th Street and Biscayne Boulevard.
Bleeding everywhere. From what the police had told me, they said that there was so much blood that they don't think that he could have gone very far without even just passing out, you know.
And wait until you hear what they say he was after.
So you're telling me he breaks into the place, smashes through the glass door, starts bleeding all over the place, and he just is looking for a pipe?
He was just looking for this pipe right over here. It's a self-lighting pipe.
This guy, surrounded by shards of glass, keeps getting cut up on the debris. He appears to punch away the glass, unaware that there's a hanging shard that cuts him. Finally, he crawls his way in, dropping blood all over the place.
And then it gets even stranger because he lights this on fire?
He lights the box on fire.
Annabelle Schindler's family owns this smoke shop.
But I run the shop 11 hours a day, and it is very, very scary to me knowing that anytime I could have somebody with that kind of tendency come into my shop and potentially harm me or my employees.
Now to the guy inside the store, jumping over the counter, and all of this, the damage, the blood, for a pipe?
This could happen to any local shop. I'm just looking out for the people in this area, you know. It's really not something that makes me feel good coming into work every day.
All this over a pipe, that's correct. That's what the people say working here. In the meantime, they want this guy caught. Look, they're running a small business here. They want to serve the community. They're concerned. If you recognize this guy, pick up the phone, call Crime Stoppers in Miami-Dade. That's 305-471-TIPS. We're in North Miami. I'm Rosh Lowe.
We begin with a horrific video you'll see only on 4 tonight. It's another brutal beatdown on the Miami-Dade school bus, and it comes on the heels of a similar attack on a third grader. This time, the victim is a special needs student, just a few years older. The attackers, a student, and someone else who doesn't go to that school but was able to get on the bus anyway.
And tonight, our parents are asking why their daughter was not protected by the school and why that other person was allowed on the bus. CBS 4's Anna McAllister is live in Cutler Bay with this story. Anna.
Jim Warren, the victim's mother, tells me that she was attacked on her 15th birthday. She said that two girls started wailing on her daughter. One of them, a student who was on the bus, the other, a girl who ran into the bus while the doors were open. And now the family is demanding answers.
It's very difficult to watch.
Another violent school bus brawl caught on camera in Miami-Dade.
That should have not happened. My daughter should have been protected.
Joanna Velez says her daughter, who was a student with special needs at Cutler Bay Middle School, was attacked by two girls while riding the bus home last Friday. Velez says a student on the bus attacked her daughter before that girl's older sister, who doesn't go to the school, hopped in and also started pummeling her.
The bus driver left the bus door open, so another person came in, which was the sister of the little girl that goes to school with my daughter.
Adding insult to injury, it was the victim's 15th birthday. What was supposed to be a day of celebration and joy turned into a day of stress and tears.
She was a mess. She was a wreck. She was shaking. She was crying. She was screaming.
The brawl left the victim with a concussion and her mother with questions.
I reached out on Saturday night to the principal of Cutler Bay Middle School and expressed what had happened, what I needed. I have not gotten a reply from him. So I have not gotten no answers from nobody.
So we asked the school district about what disciplinary action, if any, has taken place and what's being done about this incident. While the district says they're aware of what happened and say the student involved has been disciplined according to the Code of Student Conduct, they did not provide details. So Velez is taking matters into her own hands and hired an attorney.
Enough with the deliberate indifference to student safety. You're on notice. You've been on notice. We're a week or less, or right around a week since the awful coconut palm incident, and here we are with another bus assault. When will it end?
And Montgomery says he plans to serve the school legal papers sometime within the next few weeks. As for the victim, well, her mother tells me that she's traumatized and will most likely not return to Cutler Bay Middle School. For now, reporting live in Cutler Bay, Anna McAllister, CBS 4 News Tonight.
Anna, thank you. We also asked the school district if the bus driver would face any consequences. The answer, no, because protocol was followed. Miami-Dade police will look into the other person who jumped onto the bus and joined.
Frightening new surveillance video shows a man armed with 2 large knives inside a cell phone store in the Bronx. Police say the Metro PCS on Southern Boulevard near Freeman Street was robbed last Saturday night. It appears to be part of a pattern. At least 4 other cell phone stores have been robbed since late July, and police say in all those cases, the suspect also displayed 1 or 2 large knives.
Breaking news at 6, a hearing just held for a man charged with killing this local mother after she picked him up for an Uber ride. Christy Spacuzza's family just came out of court. Good evening, I'm Kim Gable.
I'm Ken Rice. Right now we're waiting for the video that police tell us shows Calvin Cruz holding Spacuzza at gunpoint. Megan Schiller's just out of the courtroom. Megan.
And this was Calvin Cruz's first time before a judge. He stood there alongside his defense team. He did not say anything, nor did he show any emotion when they played that dash camera footage, allegedly showing Christy Spacuzza's final ride as an Uber driver on the night that she was killed. Now, our cameras were rolling as the victim's family, along with the suspect's family and several attorneys, went into the courtroom today. We do want to mention that this hearing was delayed by more than 2 hours, so everyone was standing around for quite some time. And again, this was his first time before the judge, our first time seeing him. As the district attorney played that dash cam video from inside the victim's car, from inside Christy Spacuzza's car, her family members were in the courtroom, visibly upset. They had been played this footage before privately by the attorneys, just so it wasn't the first time that they were seeing it inside the courtroom. In that footage clip, it was about 20 minutes, we watched as Cruz sat in silence. He did not answer Spacuzza's questions. At one point, she asked him, "Did you have a good day?" During the 20-minute clip, all you could really hear was GPS directions that were coming through her phone in the car, giving her directions as she took Cruz to his destination. At some point during that call, you can see as Cruz moves to the center of the back seat right before he's about to exit the vehicle. She's trying to ask him exactly which side he wants to get out on. That's when he presents a gun, a black gun, and you can see him put it to the back of her head. She remains calm in this footage. She says many things such as, "Stop, man." Then she says, "Are you serious? I have 4 kids. What are you doing?" Cruz tells her to stop the trip, and then he tells her to keep driving. She says, "I can't do that." He says it again, and then ultimately you can see him go to grab her cell phone and also go to grab that dash camera, and that's where that 20-minute clip ends. Ultimately, we know that that was her final clip. According to Allegheny County detectives who testified, they obtained records from Uber. That was her final completed trip as an Uber driver on the night of her death. Tonight, Cruz's family exited the courtroom. They provided no comment, and Christy Spacuzza's family, the victim, they also offered no comment. Because there's a gag order in the case, attorneys that are involved also offered no comment. We'll have that video for you to watch in a later newscast. For now, reporting live, Megan Schiller, KDK
The 55-year-old victim is recovering in the hospital following that assault, but his attacker is still out there. It happened during last evening's commute.
The victim simply walking into the J Street Metro Tech station in downtown Brooklyn when he and the suspect bumped into each other, and the other man's reaction was shocking. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett spoke exclusively with a friend of the victim. He joins us live outside the hospital on Park Slope where the victim's being treated. NJ?
Yeah, that's right. Brooklyn Methodist Hospital here in Park Slope, Brooklyn, where, yes, the victim remains in intensive care, recovering from multiple stab wounds tonight. Yes, police say this attack happened after the man simply brushed up against another man who then flew into a rage. It's the kind of random attack that has plagued the transit system.
He's still in bad shape. He can't even talk right now.
Joseph Marte is horrified and angry tonight. His employee, 55-year-old Ramiro Sanchez, was stabbed and nearly killed by a crazed man with a knife. Police say Sanchez was entering Brooklyn's busy Metrotech subway station with a coworker, where he accidentally brushed up against another man who pulled out a knife and flew into a rage.
They went down the train station to go home, basically, so this big guy came up and actually was staring at him, and all of a sudden he just pushed him away and went after him, and he pulled out a knife and cut his fingers, his face, and he stabbed him twice in the back.
Did he say why he was doing it?
No, the guy never said a word. He was just acting bananas.
It happened shortly after 6 p.m. last evening, and the suspect escaped into the crowd. But Ramiro Sanchez is only the latest victim of violent crime in the New York City transit system. Transit crime is up 50% so far this year over last year. That despite stepped-up police deployments intended to deter violent crime and to respond quickly to incidents that do happen. Cracking down on so-called quality of life violations is intended to make the system safer, a major initiative announced by Mayor Adams earlier this year.
They say they have more cops in the subway now than they ever did.
You believe that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not enough. To be honest, not enough.
Joseph Marte says Sanchez has worked for his construction firm for 15 years. An immigrant from Mexico who, like so many, routinely sends money to his family back home.
What's going on in the train stations is nothing is safe, and New York has been, after the pandemic, it's been crazy with all these people hanging around in train stations, sleeping, homeless. This is what's going on, and no one actually put a stop onto it.
And late this afternoon, the response from MTA spokesman Tim Minton, who points out that arrests in the transit system are up 64% so far this year. He says, quote, those who would target riders know their picture will be taken, end quote. That has certainly been the case in a number of crimes. That has not been the case so far with this crime. No photo released just yet. And the suspect remains at large tonight.
Accused of shooting her teenage son will be headed to a grand jury.
Yeah, judge ruling that there is enough evidence for that panel to consider a reckless murder charge against Glenda Agee.
Fox News investigative reporter Brendan Kirby has been following the case.
Mobile Police Sergeant Kenneth Gillespie testifying that a March report by the Department of Human Resources indicated Jamil Autry felt unsafe at the home because of guns. He also told investigators the home lacked food and water, according to the detective. Sergeant Gillespie testified that DHR removed the boy from the home for a time, but Jamil was back at home on October 3rd when a gunshot took his life. Sergeant Gillespie says a .380 caliber bullet went through the bathroom wall into Jamil's bedroom. He says the bullet hit the boy in the back.
The indication was that he was actually sleeping in his bed when he was shot.
Sergeant Gillespie testified that a gun found by a neighbor in her yard a few days later matched the shell casings in defendant Glenda Agee's home. The detective testified that Agee at first suggested that fellow students who had been in fights with her son may have been responsible for the shooting. Later, he says, Agee changed her story and told investigators she was getting into the bathtub and that the gun went off when she placed it down. Mobile County Assistant District Attorney Lauren Walsh pointed to testimony that the boy's father, who was not at home at the time, told police that Agee shot him 5 years ago. She also claimed that that was an accident, according to testimony.
We have charged her based on her reckless behavior and all of the pattern and conduct that we've learned in the course of interviewing neighbors and speaking to people who know her, how she deals with guns.
But the defendant's sister, Gwendolyn Payne, disputes that account. She says she got Jamil from the house temporarily, but adds there was no formal order removing him. And she says the shooting clearly was not intentional.
They knew it was an accident. The detective told us it was an accident. Her door didn't lock. Everybody knows this. I am so tired about this mess. And I wish the truth come out. And they trying to make like my sister a heinous person. She's not.
Brendan Kirby, Fox 10 News.
Well, the judge also revoking AG's bond today on a case from January where she's accused of causing an injury to a Pritchard police officer during a car chase. Jury has convicted one of the kidnappers of the Camille Cupcake McKinney. This is a 3-year-old who was kidnapped from a Birmingham housing community in 2019.
Her body was found dumped in a landfill a week after she vanished. Our Lacey Beasley here in studio with us reviews the trial and more on today's verdict. Lacey?
Yeah, Byron and Lenise. Now, this has been a heartbreaking case going on for 3 years now, though it didn't take long for the jury to deliberate. They brought back their guilty verdict in less than 90 minutes. Derek Brown was convicted in a Tuscaloosa courtroom today of kidnapping and conspiracy to kidnap a minor, which is an automatic life sentence without parole. This comes on the heels of her co-defendant, Patrick Stallworth, convicted of the same count in October. Jurors were given 2 options: decide whether Brown was a bystander to Stallworth's plan to kidnap Cupcake McKinney, or if she actively participated in the crime.
The multiple times that she had to stop it, I mean, there were plenty of times where she was left alone and she didn't.
According to federal prosecutors, Brown told police only things a kidnapper would know, such as the drugs found in Cupcake's body. Assistant United States Attorney Lloyd Peoples says there is still uncertainty about what exactly played out in Brown's apartment, which is where they brought Cupcake after the kidnapping.
There's a lot that we don't know. We don't have recording devices that were inside the car. We don't have recording devices that were inside the apartment. What we do know is their actions, and it was caught on video. And this was clearly a coordinated effort between the 2 of them. Neither one of them stopped the other. Neither one of them did anything to help the little girl.
Now, our sister station in Birmingham, WBRC, reports the defense declined to comment after the verdict. Both Brown and Stallworth will be sentenced in early 2023. They'll also stand trial for capital murder in state court, where prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Reporting live in studio, Lacey Beasley, Fox 10 News.
Yeah, good morning to both of you. Good afternoon, rather. Those 2 men now facing a number of charges, including first-degree murder. Let's take a look at them. 22-year-old Malik Parrish and 20-year-old Abdul Ali will be making their first appearance in Cook County Bond Court in the next few hours, charged with, among other things, first-degree murder. These charges are coming nearly 8 months to the day that Nazaria Moore was shot in the head and killed on her birthday. And you might remember that Moore was in a car with her family heading home from her birthday party when those shots were fired on March 1st. At West 72nd and South Oakley and West Inglewood. She died several days later at Comer Children's Hospital. Those bullets, police say, were intended for a different vehicle. And today, CPD thanking several organizations in their help in finding the suspect, saying it was an anonymous tip, finally, that led them to these charges today.
Well, the really pivotal point is we received an anonymous witness from the community, as Sue mentioned, gave us some information which allowed us to move forward and then build a stronger case and then work with the state's attorney's office in order to do this.
These are violent people, and their history, criminal history, shown them to be violent. We need to throw the book at these people. They need to be held to the highest extent that the law allows in our court system.
Again, Parrish and Ali will be in bond court within the next few hours facing those charges. Police saying that they are also looking for a 3rd suspect. They did not name that suspect, but say they continue to look for that 3rd suspect. We'll have much more coming up starting on the news at 4 o'clock and online at WGNTV.com. But for now, we are live at Chicago Police Headquarters. Sean Lewis, WGN News.
Morning. Police are searching for a suspect in a series of anti-Semitic vandalism incidents in the borough of Queens.
And the new report finds such crimes and hate crimes in general have seen a disturbing recent rise. CBS 2's Elijah Westbrook now with the story.
Investigators say this man is responsible for at least 6 separate incidents involving anti-Semitic vandalism in Forest Hills and Rego Park, Queens. Some of these locations include the 112th Precinct, Junior High School 157, a residential building on Queens Boulevard, and a synagogue.
There is a lot of fear out there, especially for young people when they
look online when they see what's happening.
Organizations like the Anti-Defamation League are reporting troubling numbers regarding hate crimes. The ADL says 2022 was the worst year yet for anti-Semitism since it started keeping track 44 years ago. There were nearly 3,700 incidents nationwide, averaging about 10 per day, a 36% increase from the year before.
You don't need Jews for anti-Semitism, but if you're talking about harassment of Jews, the more Jews you have, perhaps the more anti-Semitism you're going to have.
The stats also show New York coming in first with an overall 395 incidents last year, while New Jersey closely follows in third, which saw more than 400 incidents. That's up 10% from the year before. The NYPD reports Jews face the most hate crimes compared to other populations by about 70%. Evan Bernstein is the CEO of Community Security Service, which trains volunteers to be guards at synagogues and Jewish events.
I wish we could stop growing. I wish we weren't needed, but I just don't see that trend dissipating anytime soon.
On the local level, the ADL and Bernstein say resources from both law enforcement and lawmakers are still much needed, from more training for police officers on hate crimes to giving more security grants to houses of worship. Back to the suspect in a string of anti-Semitic vandalism in Queens, last seen wearing a blue sweatshirt, gray sweatpants, and sneakers. If you see him, give police a call. In Forest Hills, Elijah Westbrook, CBS 2 News.
An arrest was made in a deadly crash on I-95. This happened yesterday on I-95 in Port St. Lucie, that's in South Florida. Michael Addison was charged in the crash that killed a highway patrol trooper and a semi-truck driver. He's facing charges for vehicular homicide, felony homicide, and driving without a license, among others. He was booked in the St. Lucie County Jail on no bond. Police say the trooper Zachary Fink was killed while trying to detain Addison. They say the trooper in a semi-truck crashed on I-95. Addison was detained around half a mile away. The St. Lucie Sheriff's Office says he had a warrant out of Broward County for aggravated battery.
News now at 5. A convicted child sex offender back behind bars tonight after a little boy cried out to investigators. Broward County Sheriff's deputies arrested 40-year-old Mark Adrian Gilbo last night off I-35 North. The sheriff said the investigators were talking to a 6-year-old boy about another sexual assault case when he told deputies Gilbo had also assaulted him several times. A woman was also arrested after the sheriff said she told the little boy not to speak to investigators. The sheriff says Gilbo was recently released from prison after serving 10 years for sexually assaulting a 10-year-old Broward County girl. Fears there may be at least 8 other children Gilbo has victimized. Call the Broward County Sheriff's Office if you have any information.
New details now about a now former school bus driver accused of sexual battery against students on his bus. Tonight, he is now out of jail on bond, charged with multiple felonies. Here's 11 Alive's John Schierick with the latest updates on the case.
The school bus driver accused a month ago of sexually assaulting Lanier High School students on his bus. He resigned. Then this past Thursday, he was arrested.
Jason Lyons is charged with 3 counts of sexual battery against children under the age of 16. And he's charged with 2 counts of child molestation, all felonies. According to administrators, Gwinnett County Schools Police pulled Lyons from driving on October 17th. As soon as the alleged assaults were reported to them, they began investigating. Lyons resigned 3 days later, October 20th. The Lanier High School principal waited until last week when police arrested Lyons before notifying the parents of the students who rode Lyons' bus, writing that their driver, quote, has been arrested for inappropriate contact with several students on the bus.
Court records show that Lyons was released this past Sunday from the Gwinnett County Jail on a bond of $34,000 to await prosecution on the charges. In Sugar Hill in Gwinnett County, John Schierick, 11 Alive News.
That woman's son was attacked here on Empire Boulevard. A Hasidic man just walking home, minding his own business, is suddenly attacked, stabbed in the back with no warning. And now police say the same suspect slashed 2 joggers in Prospect Park last night.
It was a hate crime. He's a Jew, and that's why.
Rivka Brickman says the only reason her son Yehuda Levi Brickman was stabbed in the back last month was his religion. She also had tough questions for police during a packed community meeting at the Jewish Children's Museum on Eastern Parkway in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Problem am I going to be sure that it's him? I need a follow-up. I'm sorry.
The meeting came just hours after the arrest of 26-year-old ᵛᵉʳᶦᶠᶦᵉᶈ. The suspect, who lives in a Manhattan homeless shelter, is charged with assault and robbery in the knife attacks on two male joggers in Prospect Park at 11:30 Wednesday night. One victim, stabbed in the stomach, got his wallet stolen. The other was cut on his hands fighting off the suspect. Both are expected to be okay. Police sources say while in custody, ᵉቬᶦᶠᶦᵉ also admitted to stabbing 25-year-old Levi Brickman on Empire Boulevard in Crown Heights 1 month ago. He was caught on surveillance video holding a knife moments after that attack. Today, ᵉቬᶦᶠᶦᵉ was charged with attempted murder as a hate crime in that case. But still on edge, the victim's mother wants DNA to prove this is really the guy who attacked her son.
I need to make sure that the person that they got that stabbed Levi is truly the one that stabbed the other two people.
The bottom line is we firmly believe we have the right guy.
Police say they do have a knife and they are testing DNA on it from that attack to make a confirmation. They are also now looking into whether this same suspect may have attacked another Hasidic man in another random stabbing back in November on Eastern Parkway. We're live in Crown Heights, Brooklyn tonight. Brian ᵛᵉʳᶦ, CBS 2
Also in
News.
jail this evening, a Lincoln man who investigators say sexually assaulted two young girls on multiple occasions. A judge setting his bond this afternoon at $500,000. According to court documents, both victims were interviewed at Brave Bee Child Advocacy Center here in Lincoln after the child abuse hotline in Nebraska took a report about what happened earlier this year. That was back in April. The crimes allegedly took place years ago when one victim was between 7 and 9 and the other was no older than 5. McRae was arrested yesterday and was in court today. He'll be in court again on January 10th.
New this midday, Elizabeth City police need your help finding a murder suspect. And so this is 20-year-old Lorenzo Cedino Jr. He's wanted for a shooting that happened on Sunday just after 12 on River Road. And that's where police found 40-year-old Travis Fletcher and 35-year-old Cedric Green shot. They were both taken to the hospital. Now, unfortunately, Fletcher later died at the hospital. And officials say that Cedino fled before police arrived there at the scene. And police say Cedino is armed and dangerous. So if you have any information on this shooting, you're asked to call the crime line or submit a tip using the P3 Tips app.
Come on, man. I'm finna hit. It's over with. Oh, shots fired in downtown Memphis.
We're beginning with breaking news tonight at 10. You can hear those rounds of gunshots as 8 people were shot in downtown Memphis overnight. This video captured by Blackwood News shows those scary moments as they unfold early this morning. And this wasn't the only incident keeping officers busy in the entertainment district. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Shay Arthur. Let's get right to WRG's Jordan James, who is live downtown tonight. And Jordan, I understand you spoke with the man who actually captured that video and witnessed that chaos unfold. What's he telling you tonight?
Hey Shay, that man, like so many others, is counting their blessings when you consider the chaos which unfolded behind me and hours later leading to an increased presence from law enforcement. Gunshots erupted in the heart of Memphis Sunday morning.
Shots fired in downtown Memphis. Shots fired.
Dozens of rounds were fired into a crowd, leaving 8 people between the age of 19 to 54 wounded.
It's just seconds away, just minutes away. I could have easily been down there right there.
Lofton William was not on the ground during the shooting. He was on top of a nearby parking garage, documenting Memphis's nightlife for his media company, Blackwood News.
Everything was going good. Everybody was just vibing, playing. They had the music playing, then all of a sudden, all you hear was about good 20, 25 shots ringing off.
Hours prior to the shooting, video shows a group of people gathering, drag racing, and driving recklessly. At some point during the unsanctioned event, a Memphis police officer was assaulted and suffered minor injuries. William witnessed the aftermath.
It was out of control, from the fights, the slideshows, the police trying their best. They really couldn't do nothing. these folks out of control with these cars, so it was over with.
This shooting comes as downtown crime is under a microscope following several incidents ranging from auto thefts to shootings, leaving many to question their safety.
My heart is broken. So much happened. We can't go outside for violence. People, if they're not killing people, they are taking their cars. You can't go to the store.
As for this latest shooting, all of the victims are expected to be okay, and police are still searching for who's responsible.
And I can't tell you at this time, police have not released a motive for the shooting, nor have they set a suspect description in this case. If you know anything, you're encouraged to call Crime Stoppers at numbers 901-528-CASH. For now, reporting here live tonight downtown, Jordan James, WREG, News Channel 3.
Police are now looking for a man accused of killing his former wife. This happened less than a week ago at her home in Hayward. Investigators say their suspect is armed and dangerous. KTVU's Amber Lee spoke with the victim's family live tonight there in the city of Hayward with the new information. Amber?
Mike, the Hayward Police Department says it is working with other law enforcement agencies, including the U.S. Marshals, to locate and arrest the suspect. The victim's family tells me they are in shock over what happened.
The senseless thing happened can shatter a family.
Lorenzo Smith is mourning the loss of his niece, Monique Aldrich of Hayward. Her family is struggling with her sudden death, the victim of gun violence.
It's been a very, very difficult time for us, quite naturally. A lot of us are still pretty much trying to cope with it and some state of shock, for the most part.
Shock over what happened last Thursday afternoon around 2 o'clock. Hayward police are now looking for Aldrich's ex-husband, Vaughn Boatner of San Mateo. Investigators say he went to Aldrich's home in Hayward, where she lived with her boyfriend, and shot both of them. Family members say Aldrich died of her injuries at the hospital, and her boyfriend is in critical condition. Police say the 5-year-old son Aldrich and the suspect shared was at home at the time of the shooting, but relatives say the child did not witness what happened.
Mr. Boatner fled his residence just prior to the service of a search warrant on May 11th, and he remains at large. He should be considered armed and dangerous.
Aldrich's family says they were not aware of any trouble between the former couple and did not witness any previous violence. They tell me the two shared custody of their son.
We're going to have to have a sit down with him and explain to him the circumstances and then also provide some counseling.
Aldrich's parents and younger sister, joined by relatives, have come together to comfort each other and share memories. They say the 29-year-old was smart. Mom tells me Aldrich graduated from UC Davis with a major in biology after finishing high school when she was only 16. At the time of her death, she worked in healthcare.
Hello, I'm Monique. Fitness has been a passion of mine for the past 5 years, and personal training is my purpose.
She was into healthy living and had her own personal training business, but her world centered around her son. Her family tells me the couple has been divorced for a few years.
It's going to be a long, hard road for us, quite naturally. We're still trying to process it.
The family says they plan to find a way to support a nonprofit that helps domestic violence victims in Aldrich's memory. The U.S. Marshals are offering a $10,000 reward for anyone who provides information that leads to the arrest of Boatner. Mike, Julie.
And let's hope those tips come in. Amber Lee, live tonight in Hayward. Amber,
New
thank
at 6,
you.
a Winston-Salem man is in custody accused of trying to rape a child. Washon Hall was arrested last Thursday by SWAT. He is charged with felony indecent liberties and felony attempted statutory rape. Police tell us the allegations involve a juvenile victim, and they do not plan to release any details beyond that. Hall remains in jail. His bond is set at $200,000.
Damar Dabney is trying to heal, but he says it's going to be a long road to recovery. He says that he doesn't know who the shooters are, but to him, they look like teenagers.
I'm very thankful for my life.
Damar Dabney is trying to manage the stinging pain in his jaw as best he can after a group of teens or young adults shot up the SUV he was in, leaving fragments of bullets lodged in his cheek and his vehicle riddled with bullet holes.
I believe it entered here and also here, because as you can see.
Damar winced as he took off his bandages to talk to us today.
My tooth was shot out, so I'm thinking the fragment went in like that, and kept going. But they said the fragment is enlarged in my jaw area.
Speaking is much more difficult now, and Damar is trying to hide the extent of his wounds from his young children.
Yes, it's just very excruciating, but what scares me is my kids seeing it. So I try to stay with my bandages on.
Damar's life changed forever on May 6th when he and his fiancée Jessica went to visit a close friend that's considered family and her new baby. Damar decided to stay in the car for a bit. 5 minutes later, he saw a group of young people approaching with guns drawn, and they opened fire. He hit the floor.
The angle I was laying at, it was more or less like it was 3 shooters. So they were coming from this angle, and I'm in my car. And then they started shooting, so I just laid down. And as I laid down, the angle must have hit like that and then lodged in my jaw. So it's excruciating.
Jessica and Damar say they heard around 30 shots before it grew quiet. She ran outside and saw him jumping out of a window.
Terrified. I was freaking out. I was throwing up. I couldn't. My kids were supposed to be with us.
The couple were shocked at the age of the shooters and the fact that it was so random.
I know it had nothing to do with me, but the simple fact of there's so much violence going on in the community right now, all we can do to make a change is try to help each other and stop the violence, because I could have literally been taken away from my kids over something I had nothing to do with.
The 2 parents have decided to shield their kids from the truth, telling them that he took a spill rather than to traumatize them.
Because I don't want them to see like, oh, golly, Dad, what happened? And I hate lying to my kids, but I had to lie. You don't want to tell them about this right now, so it's like, yeah, Daddy fell hard.
Jessica has started a GoFundMe online fundraiser for medical expenses and to get a new vehicle, as the family is now without transportation. Damar has also lost his income temporarily, as he was working 2 part-time jobs as a security officer and with Instacart.
So it's just excruciating pain, but it's trying to bear through it for the kids, you know? But I know I just need to be able to, I need to get better so I can be able to work.
He also hopes surgery can eventually restore what the shooters have taken from him and his kids.
I had a nice smile, I promise. Now it's just I'm going to have to go through therapy to be able, because the nerve damage of the situation. As you can see, this is majorly swollen, so to smile, like it's hard to smile. I have to smile like, and I barely can do that. Can't laugh, so my kids make me laugh. I gotta, so it's just super painful to even not even just physical wise, emotionally wise, because I can't even be the same dad I'm used to being.
We'll put a link to that fundraising information in our story at fox13seattle.com. Meantime, Jessica says that she has a surgery consult scheduled for Damar. And we also reached out to Lakewood Police to see if they had any comment on the case and are waiting to hear back. Reporting from Lakewood, Jennifer Dowling, Fox 13 News.
Police say that they have the man they believe attacked a 72-year-old woman outside a grocery store.
And the incident was caught on camera. KTVU's Alyssa Harrington joining us live from outside Hayward Police Headquarters with the very latest on this story. Alyssa?
Yeah, certainly disturbing video. I got a chance to speak with some customers outside that same grocery store who were just shocked to hear about what happened. Now, even though police say that they arrested this person for a hate crime, that person ended up only being charged with elder abuse.
Shocking surveillance video shows the moment a man strikes a 72-year-old woman in the face, knocking her to the ground outside of a store in Hayward. This happened outside the Filipino grocery store called Seafood City the morning of July 21st.
We arrived on scene and saw that she had been struck on the face. She fell to the ground. The man who struck her fled the scene prior to our arrival, but luckily there was surveillance footage.
Officer Cassandra Foval with the Hayward Police Department said the attack appeared to be unprovoked and the two did not know each other. She said officers reviewed the footage and recognized the suspect from previous incidents.
Officers patrolled the area throughout the day, and later that evening they found him in that same area and took him into custody.
The man, identified as 25-year-old Steve ᵛᵉŻᶦᶠᶦᵉᶈ, was arrested for elder abuse and a hate crime. The case was then handed over to the district attorney's office, which is only charging him with elder abuse, not the hate crime. In court documents, ᵛᵉŻᶦᶠᴜ is described as a transient.
We're concerned about any type of violence, whether it's against a protected party or a specific race. It's something that we take very seriously and we have no tolerance for here in Hayward.
Just ran here and hit somebody? That's not acceptable.
We talked to some customers outside Seafood City. They were shocked to hear about the attack and upset it involved an Asian elder.
That's sad. I mean, people shouldn't be. Nowadays it's very hard to tell, people's minds.
Police said the victim was traumatized by the incident, but will be okay.
Now, on the City of Hayward's website, there is a section about hate crimes and how to identify one. Some examples include someone making comments that show prejudice, also targeting the victim because they belong to a protected class, or committing an act on a date important to that protected group. Reporting live in Hayward, I'm Alyssa Harrington, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Alyssa, thank you.
In Paducah, 38-year-old Antonio Smith is being charged with trafficking drugs. Police say he was seen throwing some stuff out of his window when an officer tried to pull him over. He eventually stopped, and that's when the deputy found $3,600 in cash. They also found 16 grams of cocaine that had been thrown out from that vehicle. Smith is being held in McCracken County
Jail. A bar
Jail.
brawl in Brevard County. A man is sucker punched and then his head is stomped on while he's on the ground. Now the sheriff is asking for the public's help. Fox 35's Esther Bauer is live in Cocoa Beach tonight. And Esther, one suspect has been caught, but 2 others are still out there.
The victim was knocked unconscious almost immediately after the first punch. The sheriff says 2 people distracted him while a third came up and started attacking. Now the sheriff wants to find who's responsible, locking them up and keeping them off the street.
It was a melee. I mean, it was 3-on-1 and one was barely conscious.
The bar brawl caught on camera in Cocoa Beach. It happened on Friday at Graham's Beach Grill and Bar. The sheriff says the attack was unprovoked and put everyone in the restaurant at risk.
Violent attack taking place in a public place, putting not only the craziness they were doing, but putting innocent bystanders at risk as well.
Over the weekend, deputies arrested Thomas Busby during a traffic stop. Records show he's been arrested over 15 times for other crimes like aggravated assault, resisting an officer, and violation of probation. He's now facing attempted murder charges.
Our team goes out and they work and they arrest them and they put them behind bars, and then they're right back out on the street.
Sheriff Wayne Ivey still looking for 2 other suspects. Jermaine Simpson and Reginald Jones also wanted for attempted murder.
They're not only punched him from behind and knocked him out, they went as far as to stomp on his head, kicking him in his face, kicking him in his ribs, hit a pool cue over his head. These are violent individuals that the only place they're safe from the community is to be locked up.
The sheriff says the victim in this video is expected to make a full recovery, but suffered significant trauma. Records show the attack left his left eye swollen shut, bruised, and cut his lips and broke his teeth.
When you look at that incident, and I mean, that was an extremely violent attack.
And the one suspect deputies did arrest is still in jail at this time. His bond is currently set at $250,000. If you have any idea where these other 2 suspects are, you're encouraged to call Crime Line with information. Reporting live in Cocoa Beach, Esther Bauer, Fox 35
Back
News.
here, the police manhunt continues for the gunman who shot and killed a 22-year-old woman a week ago in Germantown. Authorities know who they're looking for, and so does the mother of the victim, who spoke to Action News tonight. Reporter Annie McCormick is live at Philadelphia Police Headquarters with more. Annie.
Yeah, and Rick, Philadelphia police releasing information, including a picture about the homicide suspect, hoping to get him into custody tonight. We spoke to the victim's family.
They mothers, I'm a mother. If someone that did it to their family, they would want justice.
The mother of 22-year-old Zakira Bailey pleading with anyone with information about the whereabouts of her daughter's alleged killer to come forward.
Don't hide him in your house knowing that he out here and he just killed somebody. That's not cool. I want justice. I know they want justice too. How could you even sit around somebody knowing that he just did this to somebody on the street in broad daylight?
Police say 22-year-old Jahir Williams Hill shot and killed Zakira last Tuesday after she and a friend arrived to the 2500 block of North 10th Street. Zakira's friends and family say she was going to pick up a friend and was walking away from Williams when he shot her multiple times. Today, Philadelphia police released his picture after charging him with murder, gun offenses, and related charges. The family says Williams Hill was working as a mentor to young kids, trying to steer them from gun violence.
They saying my daughter got shot 5 times. No, he shot my daughter 10 times in her back. Altogether, it was 13. It was 3 grades. The community love her. Everywhere she at, she's loved. She loved the children, period.
And the center where the family says that the suspect works as a mentor did not get back to us. Additionally, the suspect is expected to appear in court in July for another case where he faces a list of charges, including weapons offenses. For now, reporting live outside of Philadelphia Police Headquarters, Annie McCormick, Channel 6 Action
And that
News.
is where we begin tonight. Chattanooga police have arrested 3 men accused of badly beating a teenager because of his sexual orientation. Good evening. Thanks for watching News Channel 9 at 5. I'm Calvin Sneed.
And I'm Latricia Thomas. The openly gay victim is still recovering tonight with a broken jaw. News Channel 9's Jerry Askin is here now with more on the suspects and how police classify hate crimes. Jerry.
That's right, Calvin. Latricia. Logan Odom, Demonte Battle, and Chris Woodard are all facing aggravated assault charges. They're all 18 years old. Now we're learning how police classify a hate crime, and just a warning, some of the video here is graphic.
He's been accused of a hate crime, which it wasn't a hate crime.
Yanika Taylor isn't buying the fact that her son, Demonte Battle, badly beat a man last week, all because of his sexual preference.
No one cares that he's gay. We don't care. We have we have gay people in our family. We deal with them on a daily basis. We have friends that are gay. No one cares.
19-year-old Terrence Eberhardt told police that these 3 men jumped him because he's gay. Terrence spoke to our crew on Friday.
It was calling me all kind of gays, faggots, all that. Like, I didn't deserve none of that. Like,
the fight happened at the East Chattanooga Rec Center, but Battle's mother says there's more to the story. She says the victim showed up at this center with intentions of instigating the fight.
It's obvious he got beat up, but I don't know. And I'm just going by what my son said, that he didn't do that to him.
And I spoke today also to Logan Odom over the phone, who told me he's innocent. He says he wasn't there when the fight happened and says he doesn't even know the victim. Police have classified this as a hate crime based on the nature of the assault. They say hate crimes are crimes committed against someone based on their race, sexual orientation, background, or religion.
If we believe that a particular type of crime not only affects the victim themselves, but also a group of our community, our city, we take that very seriously.
The victim's mentor told me today that the people responsible for this brutal beating should pay.
my thoughts on that is how could they actually just literally beat someone while they're unconscious? I mean, is that an animal or is that a human being? At the end of the day, Terrence is a human being, no matter what his sexual orientation is.
And today, Chris Woodard's family had no comment. The men accused are all due in court on Wednesday. Calvin.
Jerry, will the suspects face a separate hate charge, a hate crime charge, since police have classified this as a hate crime?
Well, Calvin, Latricia, in Tennessee, a hate crime isn't really a charge. It's all based on the nature of the incident, and it's based on the punishment as well, but it's not an actual charge like many other states.
All right, thanks a lot,
33-year-old former home health care aide Melanie Liverpool gets 20 years to life in prison. She admits she killed 49-year-old Connie Watton, who she did not know, by pushing her in front of a number 1 train at the Times Square 42nd Street subway station on November 7, 2016. At the sentencing, she did not speak, in stark contrast to her arraignment in February 2017, where she rolled her eyes and denied everything. Her eventual change of heart and guilty plea spared Watton's family a trial and came with the agreement that she'll likely be freed when she's in her 50s, something that caused Watton's loved ones to bristle. Here is the victim's first husband, Mark Corman.
Nothing to say that she wouldn't go and prey on another innocent person.
This is Robert Watton, who was her husband at the time of the shocking killing. He asked we not record his victim impact statement, where he described Connie as thoughtful and generous, working as a housekeeper and cook for a New York family, sending money home to her family in her native Philippines.
In the courtroom, Robert Watton said he is forever haunted by what happened to his wife here. And then he had some choice words for her killer.
He called her a demented piece of garbage, then addressed her with "You are heartless and you have no soul." She did not make eye contact with him. Her attorney, Aaron Wallenstein, tried to get the judge to hand down a lighter sentence, citing a tough childhood. She had falsely confessed to another subway pushing that was ruled a suicide, sent to Bellevue Hospital for psychiatric treatment, and released 5 days before the push that killed Watton.
She's certainly remorseful for her actions.
In giving Liverpool the maximum sentence he could, the judge noted this tragedy as, quote, the quintessential urban nightmare in Lower Manhattan. Dave Carlin, CBS.
A Warren County jury has convicted a man on multiple rape charges of a child. 60-year-old ᵉŒᶦᶠᶦᵉᶈ Kalfas was found guilty Wednesday by a Warren County jury of 2 counts of first-degree rape and 2 counts of first-degree sodomy, both of a victim less than 12 years old. The jury recommended a life sentence on each count, all to run concurrently. This case has been going on for over a year. Kalfas was originally Kalfas was originally indicted on the charges back in February of 2022. He entered a not guilty plea at his arraignment October of last year. The trial was held Wednesday, where the jury found him guilty and recommended the life sentences. He also has several cases open on separate crimes out of Louisville.